she had dismissed, was married to the police chief, and the disabled child she had just attacked, the one she said didn't belong, was the police chief's daughter. As sirens began to wail faintly in the distance, growing closer by the second, I realized something with absolute clarity. Karen thought she was enforcing order. What she had actually done was shatter her own life, in front of witnesses, on camera, with no way back. And this was only the beginning. For a few seconds after the shock device fired, the street didn't feel real. Sound came in pieces, shouting without shape, footsteps without direction. My own heartbeat pounding so loudly it drowned everything else out. My daughter was still screaming, not from pain anymore, but from fear. Her small body trembled violently in my arms, every muscle locked tight, as if she were bracing for another strike. Her breathing came in sharp, uneven gasps, the kind that tell you panic has taken full control. "It's okay," I kept saying over and over, like a prayer I needed to believe. "It's okay. Daddy's here." She shook her head against my chest. She said, "I don't belong," she cried. She said, "I'm bad." Those words, they hit harder than the device ever could. Around us, the neighborhood erupted. "Are you insane?" Someone shouted at Karen. "You shocked a child," another voice screamed. A woman ran up and crouched beside us, hands hovering uselessly in the air. "Is she okay? Oh my God, call an ambulance." Phones were everywhere now, not hidden, not subtle, held high, steady, recording every second. Some people were crying, others were furious. A few looked stunned, like they were watching something they couldn't process. Karen didn't run. She didn't drop the device. She didn't apologize. She stood there in her bright red dress, shoulders squared, chin lifted, like she was waiting for applause. "This is exactly what I'm talking about," she said loudly. "You let weakness spread, and society pays the price. Weakness." I felt something inside me go very cold. I stood up slowly, still holding my daughter, angling my body so I blocked Karen completely from her view. My legs felt unsteady, but my voice didn't. "You assaulted a disabled child," I said. Karen laughed. Not nervous, not uncertain. A sharp, dismissive laugh. "She's a disturbance," Karen replied. "And now you're all overreacting because you're emotional." Emotional. I took one step forward. Neighbors immediately moved with me, forming a loose wall between Karen and us. Someone positioned themselves directly in front of her, arms out. "Back up," a man said firmly. Karen scoffed. "You don't have the authority to." "I do," another voice cut in. "And so do the police, who are already on the way." That finally did something. Karen's eyes flicked down the street. Sirens were faint but unmistakable now. She tightened her grip on the shock device, then seemed to remember she was still holding it. Slowly, deliberately, she clipped it back onto her belt, like a professional finishing a task. "I'm not afraid of police," she said. "I was enforcing order. Order again." The word tasted rotten. I knelt back down, lowering my daughter gently onto the grass so she could sit without falling. Her walker lay a few feet away, knocked on its side. I reached for it, then stopped, my hands shaking too badly to lift it just yet. She stared at the ground, tears dripping onto the pavement. "Am I in trouble?" she whispered. "No," I said immediately. "You are not in trouble. Ever." She nodded, but I could tell she didn't believe it yet. Across the street, a man shouted into his phone, giving directions. Another neighbor stood with arms crossed, glaring at Karen like he was memorizing her face. A woman yelled, "You're disgusting!" And Karen snapped back, "Mind your own business." Then the first patrol car arrived. Tires screeched as it stopped too fast at the curb. Two officers stepped out quickly, hands already up in that universal gesture that says freeze and assess. They took in the scene in seconds. The child on the ground, the walker, the crowd, the woman in red. "What happened here?" one officer demanded. Everyone spoke at once. She shocked her. "That woman attacked a kid. There's video. Everyone's got video." Karen stepped forward, eager now. "I'm Hoa," she announced loudly. "I was enforcing community standards. This child was causing—" "Ma'am," the officer said sharply, cutting her off. "Step back." Karen blinked. "I'm in charge here," she insisted. "This is private community enforcement." The officer's jaw tightened. "Step back." Karen hesitated. That hesitation was everything. Another patrol car pulled up. Then another. Sirens cut off abruptly, replaced by doors slamming and boots hitting pavement. Officers spread out, controlling the crowd, creating space around my daughter and me. One officer knelt beside us. "Hey, sweetheart," he said gently, his tone instantly different. "Can you tell me your name?" My daughter looked at me first. I nodded. She whispered it. The officer nodded back. "You're safe now, okay? We're here." He glanced at the walker, at her shaking hands. "Did she shock you with a device?" he asked. My daughter nodded. Karen scoffed loudly. "She's exaggerating," she said. "It was a minor correction." The officer stood up slowly. "Ma'am," he said, turning to Karen, "do you have a weapon on you?" "It's not a weapon," Karen snapped. "It's a compliance tool." "Put your hands where I can see them," he said. Karen hesitated again, then raised her hands. Another officer removed the shock device from her belt. "This is a prohibited device," the officer said flatly. Karen's confidence cracked. Just a little. "You don't understand," she said. "I was doing what needed to be done. A fourth car arrived, then an unmarked one." The energy changed instantly. A senior officer stepped out, scanning the scene. He spoke quietly into his radio, eyes never leaving Karen. "Chief is en route," he said. That did it. Karen's face drained of color. "Chief," she repeated. "Why would the chief?" She stopped. Her eyes flicked to my daughter, then to me, then back to the officers. "No," she said softly. "That's not." I stood up again, carefully helping my daughter to her feet, supporting her weight as she leaned into me. She clutched her walker now like a lifeline. Karen stared at us. Recognition flickered, but didn't fully land yet. A black SUV pulled up at the end of the street. The driver's door opened, and the Paulie. CE Chief stepped out. The crowd went silent, not a dramatic silence, a heavy one. He walked quickly but calmly, eyes already locked on us. His badge caught the sunlight. His face, usually controlled and professional, was tight with something raw and dangerous. He knelt in front of my daughter. "Hey, kiddo," he said softly, hands steady as he checked her arms, her shoulders, her breathing. "Did someone hurt you?" She nodded. Tears spilled again. He closed his eyes for half a second. Then he stood and turned. Karen took an involuntary step backward. The chief looked at her, not angry, not shouting, worse, focused. "Which one of you did this?" he asked. Karen's mouth opened.